Welcome to Market Recap Live. I'm your host, Joseph Martin, and thank God it's Friday. I'm so glad it's Friday. I don't know what to do. I finally got 1 minute of free time before starting this stream tonight. I got the systems in place. We getting better and better. But it's still coming down to the wire. I didn't get the shave today. I got a lot of stuff going on, so I was able to just throw the cap on. So that's why we're doing the cap today. And I know you're probably thinking, man, he's switching the looks up all the time. I got to make it happen. Got to make it happen. But let's get into the show. So tonight we are taking a look at ticker PEP. You might know them better as Pepsi. PepsiCo Incorporated was founded in 1898 by Caleb Bradham, with the first location opening in New Bern, North Carolina. Now they are over a $200 billion publicly traded company in the soft drinks and non-alcoholic beverages industry in the consumer staples sector. And they are listed in the S&P 500 index. Some of PepsiCo's competitors are the Coca-Cola Company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and Monster Beverage. We're going to review PepsiCo's earnings, their website, and visit the charts to perform a quick technical analysis. But before we do that, let's do our roll call and check the stream poll. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Let's get this chat going and tell us where you're tuning in from. Put a YT in the chat if you're tuning in from YouTube, and put an FB in the chat if you're tuning in from Facebook. While you guys are filling up the stream and the chat, here's the mission statement. We are building a community over here for people who want to take control of their financial situation by learning how to unlock the wealth building power of the stock market. And we are streaming live Monday through Friday following trading sessions at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The U.S. stock market regular trading hours are 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's a link for the New York Stock Exchange calendar down in the description. All right, let's get to these earnings. Bam. PepsiCo, ticker symbol PEP, the $216.5 billion company, reported its first quarter earnings yesterday, April 16th. They have a 52-week high of $171.48, which took place February 12th, and a 52-week low of $127.60 that occurred June 26th, which is a trading range of $43.88. And they closed today at $157.67. PepsiCo earnings report beat on the top line, reporting revenue of $19.44 billion, which was higher than the market expectations of $18.93 billion, and beat on the bottom line as North American food volume returned to growth, boosted by strategic price cuts. EPS was higher than analysts and market expectations of $1.54 when they reported an adjusted EPS of $1.61. PepsiCo reported a GAAP net income of $2.32 billion, which was higher than the $1.83 billion net income they reported this same quarter last year. This represents an increase of 26.8%. So for the first fiscal quarter of 2025, their net profit was approximately 21.1% lower than it is compared to now a year later. The earnings were released before the market opened, followed by a 8:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time conference call. As far as guidance, management reaffirmed their full year 2026 outlook and announced a 4% dividend increase. That 52-week high compared to today's closing of $157.67 represents a decline of 8.1% over a span of approximately 2 months. So if someone invested $1,000 in February at that 52-week high of $171.48, they would be seeing a loss of $80.53. All right, now let's talk about why we visit company websites. We are looking at the visuals and text to find answers to these key questions. What goods and or services does the company sell? How important are those goods and services to their customers? What makes this company stand out from the competition? And how well do they take care of their employees? To find those answers, we browse 4 key areas: the homepage for goods and or services, about us for purpose, vision, and mission statements, careers for employee benefits and opportunities, and investor relations for SEC filings and stock quotes. And for your convenience, all companies featured in tonight's live stream are down in the description. Now let's get back to PepsiCo's website. Let's get to them. Let's get to them. I'm going to talk to you while I get this going. All right. Here we are on PepsiCo's website. And the goods and services, guys, they sell food. They sell soft drinks and beverages. I mean, look, knock yourself out. And some people don't realize beverages is not just limited to drinks. So I had found that out. I looked that up. I thought that was a little fun fact because I thought it was just dealing with drinks. So snacks like this would be considered a beverage, believe it or not. So just scrolling over the homepage, we get stuck right there. I was just scrolling away. They got a lot of tickers and visuals going on here. But like I said, we already know the goods and services. So let's go down here and look for, here's the about, here's investors, here's careers. Thank you, Pepsi. Because compared to the other stuff we've been looking at, boy, they was having us dig and go through it. And I don't have Pepsi up on the screen. So let's get that together. That was a mistake. But it's fixed now. That way, if somebody jumps into the stream, they know what we're looking at. So yes, let's go to About PepsiCo. I know they make, so Lay's is a part of Pepsi, huh? Brands that bring joy. I didn't know that. I did not know that. About PepsiCo, from the fizz to soda, folks, to smile. I'm whispering, not reading everything. Wow. Food, drinks, and smiles. Click this. Remember, the links are down in the description for your convenience. If you see something that catches your attention and you want to dive a little deeper into it, feel free. I'm just browsing over this real quick. I'm looking for something that just flat out says mission statement, vision statement. Sometimes they actually tell you where it is or that specific section. And sometimes they just go crazy like this and have all types of colors and visuals and pictures and all types of stuff. So right here, winning with through PepsiCo. So let's say this probably one of them. Through PepsiCo Positive, we're placing sustainability at the center of what we do and how we do it. Let's see if we got some more photos here. So yeah, that's that with the About PepsiCo. Let's go to, I'm interested in brands because I didn't know about Lay's. Look, Quaker Oats. I did not know that was Pepsi. This is why I love going to these websites when they come up. This is like a treasure hunt. Wait a minute now. They just showed a background in these few pictures. Okay, all brands that was featured. Okay, so here are all it. Man, I did not know this. Captain Crunch, Brisk, I knew about Aquafina. Seymour. Wow. Wow. I used to love these Munchos. Pepsi owns Ocean Spray and Pastaroni. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we learned that. So we know that if someone invests or decides to invest in Pepsi, those are the associated brands with that company. Now let's look at careers. He's happy and he got some Lay's dip in his hand. I don't know what flavor that is. So grow, belong, and smile. And that's what I was talking about before on the other live stream, is that it seems like they put the mission, vision, and purpose in the career section at times. So to me, this right here is like a mission statement. Vision, similar to like being short and sweet and right to the point. That's what I mean by that. Unlocking career opportunities. Where are the benefits? See what I tell you right here. You see how clear this is? Mission and vision. So here's I talked it right up. So here's the mission statement. Create more smiles with every sip and every bite. Remember, the link is in the description for you to take your time and read through the website. This is something new that I've been seeing on websites too. Now, I saw this, I think this was when we reviewed Netflix. So when you're scrolling, now they have this new thing on websites where the screen will stay stationary, but the visuals will change. So look at the scroll bar on your right. I'm scrolling, and that's what it's doing to the picture. It's making it zoom in. So for people, customers, I'm looking for the benefits, and I don't see anything that jumps out at me with this. See awards, that might be interesting. Okay. So Forbes, Fortune. Okay. Now let's go over to, they have a whole bunch of other websites you can end up going to. So here's PepsiCo jobs. We're not going to go over there, but like if you wanted to look at different positions, I'm sure that would be over there. That's my guess. But let's go to investors. So here's investor relations. Here's the stock price, the change for today. I'm looking for the stock quote. So scroll down to the bottom. All right, that ain't much on here. So let's just go back to the top. And let's see if it's under investors, or does this just take you over to this page? I don't see. Okay, here it is. Here's the section I'm looking for. Financials. So they do pay dividends. This is not clickable. So I don't think they offer investing tools on their website, because I don't see it. I don't see it under the financials. I don't see anything that says stock quote. And I don't see a chart or any type of tools that they offer. Okay, so let's go. Let's move on. Don't want to spend too much time on them. We covered them pretty good. We covered them pretty good. Now, before we look at the charts, remember, professionals trade from a computer, not a mobile device. Mobile trading apps are limited. Traders lose critical detail and advanced platform features on a mobile screen. So be advised, trading from a phone is usually the least effective way for managing assets. To see every detail, use a full trading platform and watch these streams on a computer or TV. Only use a phone as a last resort. Now let's look at the charts for ticker PEP, PepsiCo. So let me do that. Then we go here, and then we go here, put them back on the screen. See, I remembered this time. There we go. All right, now let's go over to the charts. Click the tab at the top, charts. This is not the one we're looking at. Put ticker PEP in the symbol box, and here we go. So what I want to share something with you, and I'm blocking it. So let me tell you about this. I was interested in PepsiCo. What year was this? This was 2025. So I was looking at this because I had heard about how Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger were heavily invested in Coca-Cola. So I was like, what's a similar company that I can also look at as an opportunity besides Coca-Cola, because I didn't like where they were trading at that time. And I was like, oh, Pepsi is a direct competitor of Coca-Cola, and they're trending down. So this is what those old technicals are you're seeing on the chart, even though we're about to look at it now. But I just wanted to explain what we were looking at. This is when I started paying attention to it, because I saw it trending. I saw it trending sideways. And this is a 10-year weekly chart that we're looking at right now. So I highlighted that area, how many weeks it was trending sideways after this downtrend. So I felt like this was what they call accumulation. I felt like the shares were slowly being bought up while it was trending sideways. And right after that, it started to trend up. So that's what I was interested in when I was looking at those technicals. Yeah, last year in 2025. So let's look at where the technicals are now. Let me put me back on the screen. So it looks like Pepsi has been trending sideways. And this is going to be a zone, because this is this is crazy. Like, this is a very strange pattern I'm seeing here compared to what we usually see. So I'm going to say, I'm going to just do a zone here. Let's say that's a support zone, this area right here. That's a support zone because the price is above it. As far as resistance, this candle here is what's throwing me off. This candle right here, because it's like in no man's land compared to these other candles. So if I was to draw a zone, the zone would be extremely large. The zone would be like this if I was to incorporate all of those little candles to get them to connect, to identify the zone. So this came to the bottom of the zone. This is in the zone. This reached the top, but wasn't able to get out of it. Like, this is a really wide support and resistance zone. But if I was being true to what I'm seeing, that's how wide it would be. So we are looking at a 1-year daily chart, and they recently had the 52-week high on February 12th. So I would say this area here would be an area of resistance. And we're going to draw this as a zone as well. I'm not going to go all the way up to this wick. I'm going to go here, because this wick and this wick gives us 2 candles that at least reach that top area of the zone. That's why I chose to use that one. So right now, let's zoom in. Pepsi is trading right around the top of this support resistance zone. And it looked like it closed right inside of it today on Friday. So that's what I'm seeing as far as the technicals. Now, the price is still trading above the 9-day simple moving average and the 200-day simple moving average. So let's get the stock quote for Pepsi. That didn't work. Cut on my floating data box. Floating, apply, okay. So Pepsi opened at $158.26. They had a high of $160.03. They had a low of $156.47. And they closed today at $157.67, which was a trading range of $3.56. And when we look at the trading volume, the volume they traded for today was, I'm gonna round it up, 7.8 million shares of this stock traded today. Now I need to cut this off, the floating data box, and cut on my volume labels because they're not on. So go here, put those on, apply. Okay, now that I have my volume labels on, let's zoom back into the area we were looking at. So now when we look at the volume, let me take me off the screen. The average volume, the average trading volume for Pepsi is 8.2 million shares of this stock is what they usually trade. And today, that's 7.8 when I rounded it up. That's lower than average. And Thursday's trading volume was higher than average with 10.4 million shares of that stock traded on the 16th yesterday, which to me is still pretty low for that to be an earnings day. That's still pretty low because that was barely above average. So the volume rank percentile for Pepsi right now is 56.3% as far as the trading volume for today. So it's roughly balanced. It's right in the middle because you can definitely just look at the percentage. 56 is near 50. So that's the balance. So normally we talk about the 252 most recent trading days. So the days above has the lower number, of course, because it's at 56%. So that's what we're looking at over here. So we covered Pepsi. We did the quick technical analysis on it. So let's move on. Let's move on. Go here. Go here, go here, go here. All right, back to the community. I would appreciate it very much if you guys share the stream, hit the like button, subscribe. And if you wish to send a monetary gift to support the content, I would much appreciate it. And the Cash App and PayPal links are down in the description as well as on the ticker on the screen. All right, now let's look at the SPY, the S&P. Wait a minute. Not the SPY. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, let's look at what the S&P 500 index did today by using the SPY ETF. This ETF gives investors an opportunity to participate in the S&P 500 index by tracking its performance. Let's go over to the charts. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So over here in the symbol box, SPY. Oh, boy, it's still going up. So when we looked at the SPY yesterday, we were looking at this candle right here. And I told you guys this looks like a spinning top. They call it, well, the technical analysis terms, like spinning top or a doji right here. And I was paying attention to the volume. The volume on this one, let me take me off the screen so I can point that out. The volume for yesterday was below average. It's this one right here. The 49.9, so roughly 50 million shares of this ETF was below what they average when it comes to their trading. So what I was looking at was, even though it was above this area that we drew for support, people weren't really trading it as much right here at this price range. But boy, oh boy, were they in for a surprise today when it gapped up, huh? Ooh-wee, yes it did. It gapped up right here from that high to today's low. That's the gap that it left. But to be technical, I'll break this down. Let's zoom in a little bit, and then I'm gonna pull this up. So the gap would have been from yesterday's close, from yesterday's high to today's open. So today's open is the bottom of the body of this green candle. So that open would have been $706.14, would have been the 9:30 a.m. gap up from yesterday's high, which would have been that price range of the gap. So the distance between today's lows and yesterday's high was $705.76 for the top of the gap, and the bottom of the gap is $702.78. And I really don't see any more technicals unless we go to, these are all-time highs, guys. So if I go back to the weekly chart, there's no price back here for us to use as another area of resistance. So right now it's just making new all-time highs. So sky's the limit right now, because we don't have any previous historical price data to help try to find support, to find resistance. As long as it's above the support right now, we won't be able to know where resistance is, because we don't have any historical data for that. So that was the 10-year weekly chart. Zoom back in so we can look over here. There's really no new technicals to look at. So let's go ahead and get the ETF quote for today by cutting on the floating data box, and then we'll talk about the volume in a second. Floating data box, here we go. All right, so the SPY opened today at $706.14. They had a high of $712.39. They had a low of $705.76. And they had, did I just say the low? I got distracted. And they closed today at $710.14, which was a trading range of $6.63. And now let's talk about that volume. The volume was still below average. So the volume was 70.6 million shares of this ETF was traded today. When we compare that to the average, take me off the screen, the average is 76.8. So it did have increasing volume compared to Thursday. So Thursday was the 49.9 million shares of the ETF traded, and today was higher than yesterday, but it's still trading below average. So that's what I'm seeing on the SPY. We rolling tonight, guys. We can go ahead and move on. And now I got Pepsi back on the screen. That should have been SPY, but I'm gonna pay attention now. So let's go over to here so we can talk about this. Now, let's talk about today's winners and losers. But first, we're going to look at the loser so we can end the night on a high note. All right, so let's go back over to the charts. Take SPY off because we're done with SPY. Go over to Market Watch. When we go over to Market Watch, I already have the S&P 500 watch list pulled up. Let's link it over. So the biggest loser for today is ticker LYB. They lost 11.98% today. So their previous close was $75.29, and they closed today at $66.27. So let's pull the calculator up. If someone had invested $1,000 and got hit with that 11.98% loss, they would have lost $119.80. We negate that and add the $1,000 investment back to it, and that person will be left with $880.20 of that $1,000 investment. All right, so let's analyze this company. We have it selected. Let's go over to the Analyze tab. Ticker LYB is in the materials sector. Okay, and since we're moving kind of fast, I'm going to use the Visualize tool so we can get specific about what this company actually does by using this Visualize tool. So we're going to go over to personal, and I'm going to use my temp watch list and type in LYB. Now we're going to go over to the sub tab called Visualize. When we go over to Visualize, we're going to go down to personal and find that watch list right here at temp. Now when we select that, we can open it. So here's LYB. It's in the materials sector, and it's in the chemicals industry. And the sub industry is commodity chemicals. So now we know more specifics about what type of materials this company deals with by using that tool as well. So let's go back to Analyze. I don't know why it took us back to Pepsi. LYB. We don't have them pulled up. So that's the biggest loser. And I did some research on how to pronounce this company name. So it's Lionel Bassel. Yes. It's not Bassel, it's Bassel. Lionel Bassel. So here we are. Let me take me off the screen. Here's the official name of the company, Lionel Bassel Industries NV. Here's their website. Link for the website is also down in the description for your convenience. So let's read some of this description. Lionel Bassel Industries NV operates as a chemical company in the United States, Germany, China, Mexico, Italy, Japan, France, Poland, the Netherlands, and internationally. That's all I'm reading, okay? And now we about to go to their website. Here we go. All right. Lionel Bassel. Solutions for a better tomorrow. We on the homepage. Look at them chemicals. So they say they are a leader in the global chemical industry. I'm browsing over it. See if I see anything that jumps out. Remember, the link for the website is down in the description for your convenience. So here are the different industries that their chemicals provide goods and services to: agriculture, consumer packaging, consumer goods and lifestyle, transportation. Like, all of these different industries right here depend on their goods and services. So that's a big deal. They have a broad consumer base. Top product categories. So they have a diverse portfolio. And if that's the case, portfolio doesn't technically mean this, but if they're dealing with chemicals, they should have patents. They should have some patents. And that helps the company with having assets as well. So let's look at, I'm down at the bottom. Let me take me off the screen. I'm looking for about, maybe it was at the top. Here's the investors. I'm looking for, yeah, it has more information here at the top. So I see careers right here. Who we are right there at the top. Boy, I missed it. Would have hit me in the head. Let's go ahead. Who we are. Well, they just telling you who the people are. So we'll just look at that. Executive committee. So here are some of those people. I like how it adds the color when you mouse over them. That's cool. But I would like to know about the mission and vision statement. Maybe they have it over in their career section like we saw with the other company. So let's go back to the top. Let's go to careers. Students grad career pathways. It said learn more. Maybe I should have clicked that. Learn more about careers at LYB. Yeah, let's click here. Join a team that's making a global impact. So they have a video here, link in the description for you to click that and watch that video. Why choose a career at this company? I'm browsing over it. Hard work is rewarded. Champions their growth and empowers you to positively impact the world. That stands out the most to me out of that. So they have opportunities for you to be able to advance within the company. That's great. Here are the benefits. You notice one of my favorite things, found us some benefits. So we can read over that. Okay. They allow you to get some stock. They have a plan for that. You can invest in the company you're working for. That's nice. Peter Lynch likes things like that. He feels like that's a great strategy to use to invest in things you use and already have like inside knowledge on, as far as like, you know how that company operates because you work for that company. You know how the employees are because you talk to the employees, things like that. That's what I mean by inside knowledge, like personal knowledge. We're dealing with them. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's Sam Marie. It's a Marie. I messed that all up. Please forgive me. Yeah, I think it's a Maury. These names, it's like reading vanity plates sometimes. I know we have to be creative when we're trying to look for names. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong, but forgive me. Thank you for joining me tonight, and thank you for the comment. Consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Let me put this company information back on the screen. So yeah, we saw the benefits. So let's look at the investors information. Investors. Let's go back to the top. I'm a YouTuber just like you, bro. You got my name right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. He like, man, I feel your pain. I appreciate it. So you already know. You already know what it is. Yeah, man. I'll be like, man, am I reading license plates? It remind me of, I might be showing my age with that. Jeepers Creepers. With the vanity license plates when they was on the highway and the sister and the brother was going back, the beating you license plate on the truck. I know that was random, but that's what popped into my head. So yeah, career. No, we're looking for investors. Who we are. Get back on track. They took us to somewhere. I don't even see it anymore. So here it is. Investors. It's right at the top in this small little area. So here's the stock information. LYB, Lionel Bassel, does trade on the New York Stock Exchange. Here's the stock information, and it is clickable. So I'm looking if I can find anything else up here that says, here's the stock quote. So they do pay dividends, and they do provide the stock chart and other investment tools right here. But I'm going to click on it right here after scrolling down, giving you a visual. Remember, the links are in the description for your convenience. So do you trade? Yes, absolutely. I do trade. I am a trader. Trade and invest. I do. As I grow the community, I'm going to, first time here. So what the stream about? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, because I knew I was going to get asked this question. We talked about the mission statement earlier in the show, and then I wrote down in my notes what I was going to say when I got asked that question, and I don't have it ready right now. So I'll read the mission statement to you real quick. We are building a community over here for people who want to take control of their financial situation by learning how to unlock the wealth building power of the stock market. So I'm glad that you asked that question, so I can make sure that I get my stuff ready for next week so I can answer that a lot quicker. I don't like futures. I got into it. I'll put that question on the screen because people can see it. I don't like futures. I looked into it, and out of the different things that I saw that would work for me, I'm personally biased towards stock markets, the actual stock market. I think that futures are highly speculative. So, all right. So here's the stock quote information. Here's the charts that they offer and some more investment tools. So let's go over to the charts. Let's go over to the charts on Think or Swim. Do I have the ticker symbol up on the screen? There we go. Let's go over to the charts. So charts. Ooh, that's nasty. Look how it went down, guys. Ooh, that's a big red candle. I don't even remember putting this. I don't know when I looked at this company before. We had to have covered it before on the live stream because I have a support and resistance line right here. And today it closed below it. So I think whenever we were looking at this company, it was on an uptrend. So that's what I'm seeing from these old technicals that we have put on there. And I'm thinking from what I'm looking at, there was some type of price action further over to the left. So let's go to the weekly chart. Yep, there it is. There it is. I use this area right here. And if we go back even further in the 10 years, so this is a 10-year weekly chart we're looking at. So I use this price action here and here to come up with that support and resistance line. So they started trending up at the end of last year. So the end of 2025, that's when this company started finding the bottom in this area. So right here in this area, they were trending. They were trending sideways. This isn't the tool. Here's the tool I'm looking for. They were trending sideways in this zone or this area right here. So this would have been based on this being at the bottom of the downtrend and them recovering. This would have been accumulation. And then they started trending up at the beginning of the year, beginning of this year. And they reached that 200. This is a weekly chart. So this is a 200-week simple moving average because we're looking at a weekly chart. And this is a 9-week simple moving average, the dashed green line. So let's go over to this. So now when we go over to the weekly chart, you can see how it spaced that zone. Let me take me off the screen. You can see how it spaced that zone that I drew when we were looking at the weekly candles. So it can give you a much better view of how the simple moving average behaves differently on a daily chart than it does on a weekly chart. So now we're looking at a 9-day simple moving average. And here's the 200-day simple moving average. So the 9 crossed over the 200 on the daily chart, but on the weekly chart, it hasn't crossed over it yet. And it found resistance on the 200-week simple moving average. But it was able to get above the 200-day simple moving average. So that's why the time frames matter dramatically. That's why I get confused. When I used to watch YouTube videos to try to learn how to trade, when I was watching different YouTubers explain the charts, they would leave that very important key detail out when they were looking at the charts. Like, what time frame are you looking at? Like, everything changes dramatically just by changing the time frame. The indicators, the simple moving averages, the candles, everything, the patterns, like patterns are more likely to play out on higher time frames than lower time frames, and people don't know that. So a pattern can appear on any candle chart. So they'll name the pattern and say, oh, this happened, so this should. No, you need to know the time frame and what you're looking at. So that's very important for you to know. So up here was the recent high. Well, this is the 52-week high. So now we're looking at a 1 year daily chart. Let me go to these time frames. I'm going to stretch this over. We're going to change this to 25. It's too much space over on the right. That's what I'm doing. I'm pulling it over. So we're looking at a 1 year daily chart. Here's the 52-week low at $41.58. And here's the 52-week high at $83.94. So it found some resistance up here. Just put a line up there. And it's been coming down since then. And we have earnings for this company coming up on May 1st. May 1st, they have earnings coming. So it closed below this support that I had this week on Friday. So these would be the candles for this week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the price is below the 9-day simple moving average, but it's still trading above the 200-day simple moving average. And it gapped down from Thursday to Friday. So we're going to look at the stock quote for this company, and we're going to look at the volume. So let me pull up my floating data box. And we're going to cover that. Well, that didn't work. So go here, cut it on manually, floating data box. Okay. So Lionel Bassel, they opened today at $70.12. They had a high of $70.34. They had a low of $65.76. And they closed today at $66.27, which was a trading range of $4.58. Now, when we look at the trading volume, they traded 14.5 million shares of this stock today. And now we need to compare that to their average. Like, what is the average volume that they usually get? And I did not know that I wasn't on the screen all that time, but that's all right. So let me cut the floating data box off because we need to look at the volume anyway. So right here, the average volume for this trading, for this stock in a trading session is 5.6 million. So we can clearly see that today was almost 5 times more, almost 3 times more than what they usually get. And we'll look at the volume rate percentile in a second. So on Thursday, they even had volume that was above average. That's what I'm looking at over here on the labels. So on Thursday, it was 6.1 million shares of this stock traded that day. Now let me put me back on the screen. And now we're going to talk about the volume rate percentile. So right here, the volume rate percentile was 98%. So what this means, out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 5 days had more trading volume than today. So it was volume behind this price falling down today. People were motivated to sell today when it came to this company, for sure, because the volume supports that technical analysis. All right. Let's move on. Let's go to today's winner. Go to Market Watch tab, the sub tab on quotes. Let's go here. I'll do this real quick because I done changed it. All right, now we're back on the S&P 500 watch list, and the winner for today is ticker symbol RCL, Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean is the winner for today. They had a percentage change of 7.34%. Their previous close was $265.95. And today they closed at $285.48. So that percentage gain of 7.34%, if someone had invested $1,000, they would be seeing a gain of $73.40. Let me slow down and say it that fast. If somebody invested $1,000, they would be seeing a gain from that previous closing price to today's closing price of $73.40. That would be their ROI. All right, now select this. We're going to go over to analyze. I do have them pulled up on the screen. Okay, so ticker RCL, they are in the consumer discretionary sector, and we want to use that other tool I showed you earlier. So let's go over to Market Watch, go over to personal temp, and we're going to put in RCL as the ticker, and we're going to go over to visualize and go here to temp, and it's green because it went up today. So it's in the consumer discretionary sector. It's in the hotels, restaurants, and leisure industry. And in the sub industry, it's in the hotels. I'm blocking it. Oh my gosh. Help me out now. So in the sectors, is in the consumer discretionary sector, is in the hotels, restaurants, and leisure industry, and it's in the hotels, resorts, and cruise lines sub industry. So we have more details about what this company does by using that tool. Now, when we go back over here, put the ticker symbol back in, RCL, I'm off the screen. So here's the official name of the company under the company profile. What is that doing? That didn't go away. Anyway, Royal Caribbean Cruises Ltd. Here is their investor website. Okay, so they actually have a separate website for their main website and then for their investors. Both of those websites are down in the description for your convenience. So let's read this description. Royal Caribbean Cruises Ltd. operates as a cruise company worldwide. The company operates cruises under the Royal Caribbean International, Celebrity Cruises, and Silver Sea Cruises brands. I'm gonna stop right there. Now let's go to the website, their website. Here we are. Now, this is not the investor's website. This is their actual website for the goods and services. This is when they're targeting their customers, the people they're going after to get them to get on that boat, get on that cruise. Let me put me on the screen while I'm talking all crazy. I ain't got me on the screen. And we ain't looking at Pepsi. We looking at RCL. We looking at Royal Caribbean. There we go. We got it all set up. We back on. All right, so here, yeah, cruises. This is in the consumer discretionary. This when you got some disposable, this you got some extra money, you just want to go out and take a vacation. Here are the different cruise. I've never been on a cruise. I actually want to go. I think it'd be really cool, really cool. But if somebody throws some water on me while I'm asleep, they gonna scare the mess out of me. Boy, you better be ready to fight. You do that to me while I'm asleep on a boat. Throwing some water on me while I'm asleep. Now, if somebody see this about to cause some problems. Anyway, so about us. I see it, but I'm blocking it. So let me take me off the screen so you can see it. About us, right here. And while we're here, let's look for the other stuff we look for. Here's careers. And remember, the investors is on a whole nother website, so we'll look at that later. Let's try to find the mission statement, vision statement, and purpose. So they have why Royal Caribbean. They said they've been at innovation at sea since 1969, guys. They've been doing their thing since 1969. And continue to dial up a guest experience for adventurous travelers. I don't know what is this? Block it. I don't know what that is. So they track the number of guests that sail over 300 ports worldwide. The number of ultimate destinations and the number of ships that they have. Here's some awards. Talk about the different ships. You can explore all of them right here. Remember, the links for these websites are down in the description for your convenience, just browsing. This is a lot of different choices, man. This is a lot of different choices. I would probably get stuck just looking at the different options, getting like, man, I want to get on that slide, but that ain't on the boat that got the nice club. Like, there's so many different features. You have to figure out what you like. You gonna miss out on something. Can't have everything on one boat. It's got to be different main attractions on each boat. So I definitely would look to make my selection and choices or whatever. So let's go to careers. We browse through that. And then we're going to look at the investor's website last. Actually, I know I just clicked careers, but I don't know why this came up. So here's the careers, but it has the stock information up here. Let me blow this up and zoom in. Blow this up, zoom in. Careers, culture, brands. You can apply. Here's where you try to get the job. So here are the different areas. I don't know what students mean. Maybe that's like training. They train you for whatever you want to do. And these are the different places you can work for the company at. So you start with breaking down, where do you want to be? Do you want to be on the boat? Do you want to be here? Do you want to be there? So here are the different branches, I would say, branches or departments. I want to see the benefits. Benefits. So as soon as I mention benefits, they put benefits on land. So you ain't got no. Oh, here it is. So benefits at C, they don't have it in the title, and they don't have it in here or the title. But they have benefits in the title here. They have benefits in the description here. And learn more. That's interesting. We'll be all night clicking on all this stuff. So remember, the link is in the description for you to take your time and looking at that, because we still need to look at the technicals for the chart. I mean the benefits, like what do you get as an employee? Not, well, you be able to do this on the island, but you can't do this on the ship. That ain't what I mean. I want to know the benefits you get. Now, as you can see, this arrow is next to investors, but I already have the website connected to my stream deck. So let me click that button and see what happens. Oh, no. I don't have it connected. The button I have connected is the one we're looking at, which is the actual main website. So let me pull up the investors. Here's the investor website right here. And I don't know if they have updated it or not, but I know that when I've looked at one of these cruise lines, because we had a few different cruise lines that we featured on the live stream before, and one of them didn't look like they put any effort on the investors website. But this time, this one is like very vibrant and bright, but the contrast from the first time I looked at it, it's hard to read the stock information over all of these colors. The tones are kind of the same. So they should have shaded it or did something different or put, I don't know. But this makes it hard to be able to read this, in my opinion. So we can click right here for the stock info. I think it's a beautiful picture though. So they talk more about the company here. Another picture of some boats, sustainability reports, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so we're looking for the stock quote, stock info. Right here, we can click here, but I'm looking at the top. This doesn't have a drop down. I'm just going to click it. Oh, yeah, it does have a drop down. Okay, so stock quote, stock chart, and different investment tools. So let's go ahead and click view all stock info. That should take us to the same thing. So here's the stock quote information. Just scroll down. There's the chart, and here are some more tools. All right, so now that we've seen that, we've looked at everything we can look at on their website. Let's go back to the Thinkorswim platform. And remember, the links for the websites are in the description for your convenience if you want to check them out a little bit further. So let's go to the charts. I got the ticker on the screen. No, I do not. Let's get that going. Why is that not working? Oh, I know why it's not working. Give me a second, guys. Give me 1 second. There we go. So we got the ticker on the screen. What are we looking at? This is a 1 year daily chart. So when I zoom out, the 52-week low, I am blocking it. The 52-week low was $185.50, and that happened on March 21st. March 21st, and the 52-week high was August 29th for that $366.50. Now, let's do that tool I love to use to show you what these opportunities look like sometimes if you invest directly in a company at these certain prices. So if somebody had caught it around here at this $185.50, that low to this high of $366.50, let me change the time frame. We're going to do a two-year daily chart so I can pull it over so you can see it. That was a 97.57% return from this 52-week low to this high. And now that we changed it, to a 2-year daily chart, we can see that it was even lower right here. So I'm going to use this low to that high, and I'm going to put me back on the screen. Let me put me back because I don't think I'm blocking it now. All right, I'm going to use that tool again. We're going to use this low because I believe this is going to give us a over 100% return. There it is. 123% return in less than a year. It tells you how many days it would have took. It would have took 145 days. Over 100% return. Over 120% return. 123.46% to be exact. That was an opportunity that was in this stock. And what day was that? So that was April 7th of 2025 to August 28th, 2025 in less than a year, over 100% return. And I'm telling you, we see this often. We see this often, but it's only when you take the time to actually look at these individual companies inside these charts. So let's take it back to the 1 year daily chart. Now, remember, it can go down too. So here's coming down from that high. So coming down from that high, which one is lower? I think this one is lower. So to that low from that high, mouse over it. I'm not blocking it. So that's a 33% loss in a matter of 78 days coming down to this pullback. Now, if we're looking for support and resistance to do the quick technical analysis on this, ooh, I would say it found resistance not at this high, but over here. I'm gonna use a line so you can see what I'm talking about. See how this price right here, it didn't even test this previous high. It came back to this high, and then it wasn't able to get back above it. And that day was February 10th. So this area is support. I mean, resistance. This area is resistance because it didn't get above it. Now, where did it come down for support? I would say this would be a support zone right here. That's going to be the support zone that I'm seeing on the chart. So right now, this is where Royal Caribbean is trading at, right here. So it's trading above the 9-day simple moving average. It's below the 200-day simple moving average, but it's still above this support zone because the price is above it. So this is going to be support right now, this support zone. That's where it's trading at right now. And we'll talk about the volume after we actually do the stock quote for this stock. So let's get into that, and then we'll talk about the volume. Put the floating data box back on. So Royal Caribbean opened today at $282.99. They had a high of $295.33, and they had a low of $281.25. And they closed today at $285.48, which was a trading range of $14.08. And when we look at the trading volume, they traded 5.4 million shares of this stock today. Now we need to look at the average volume before we think that the 5 million, the 5.4 million is low. We need to look at what they normally trade. What's their average? So when we look at their average is only 2.2. If we round this up, it'll be 2.3. 2.3 million shares is what they trade on average. So the 5 million that we seen, 5.4 million that they traded today was actually above average. And even on Thursday was above average when they traded 3.1 million shares of this stock. So the volume is increasing when we look at the previous volume to today's volume. And then we'll talk about the volume percentile. So it's in the 97.6%. I can come back on the screen. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 6 days had higher volume than today. So when I'm looking at this candle, I'm seeing this like an inverted hammer, even though it has a little wick down at the bottom. But the idea was that even though the price pushed up, it sold, selling pressure pushed it right back down. So it's kind of like in the middle of that zone. So let me show you what I mean. Let's say that the 200-day simple moving average is resistance, and this area is support. If you eyeball this, this is the closing price right here. I don't know if I'm gonna get this exact. So it'll snap. That's the exact. So the closing price was 285.48. So just eyeballing it looked like it's right in the middle. It's smack dab in the middle of the support and the resistance. It's smack dab in the middle of it. So based off what I'm seeing right now, it's like it's trading in this zone, trying to figure out what it's going to do. That's what I'm seeing when I'm looking at the technicals for Royal Caribbean. And then they have earnings coming up March 29th. So that could also be a reason why some indecision is happening with this stock right now. Now it is further away from the low, the 52-week low, than it is from the 52-week high. It's still closer to this than that. So that's what I'm seeing with the technicals. Okay. I think we had a great show tonight. So you already know. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you earned something. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the whole life insurance link that I have down in the description. Make sure you tune in weekdays following a market trading session at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, if you haven't checked out my other channel, Original Greatness Uncut, I dropped a new video today. So make sure you check that out, because I've been talking about what's been going on behind the scenes. It's about personal development and some things that you guys probably don't know about. And I had hit my 300th video on this channel yesterday, and I talked about that. So check that out. Take care, and God bless.